this edition of News Leader on 6. I'm Jim Fuller. In tonight's news, we'll hear about Coffee County District Attorney Craig Northcutt's letter on Facebook saying he won't prosecute business owners who violate the governor's business restrictions. Tullahoma is told they can't have graduation at the Montana Drive-In, and one alderman wants to stop the new park coming to Silver Street in Tullahoma. We'll have these stories and more on tonight's News Leader on 6.
It's not invoice. It's not MSRP. It's not Christmas Day, although it may feel like it. It's the lowest prices in Middle Tennessee, period. It's a Stan McNabb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or Stan McNabb Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac before these prices are gone forever.
When your family suffers the loss of a loved one, the caring and compassionate staff at Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel are standing by to assist you in every way possible. We are proud to support local industry and offer only Batesville caskets. Many funeral homes don't own or operate a crematory. We utilize the only crematory in Coffee County. Your loved one never leaves Coffee County. We can accommodate any need and any budget. Consider our complete pre-need service to remove this burden from your family during their time of grief. Lock in today's low costs and protect from inflation. Tullahoma Funeral Home and Coffee County Funeral Chapel. Our family caring for your family.
Welcome back. In today's top story, Coffee County District Attorney Craig Northcutt announced Wednesday that he will not enforce criminal sanctions for violation of Governor Bill Lee's Executive Order number 30, which Lee signed Tuesday and provides guidelines for employers and individuals to follow as businesses begin to reopen in 89 of Tennessee's 95 counties. For example, social gathering of 10 or more people are still prohibited, and businesses like bars, concert venues, and bowling alleys must remain closed. Northcutt, questioning the constitutionality of Lee's use of the executive order, said he won't criminally prosecute anyone for violating those orders. District Attorney Northcutt said, quote, "To date, I have remained quiet publicly about the concerns out of respect for Governor Lee and the office he holds. However, I believe it's now important for me to be transparent on my stance given the most recent announcements and the executive orders, as well as the growing reaction to those restrictions in our community. How does it make sense that a restaurant with a capacity of 400 can serve 200 people, but a barber who rarely has more than 5 people in his shop at a time can't ply his trade to support his family?" End quote. Northcutt added that the financial impact of COVID-19's pandemic and executive orders have led to an increase in thefts, burglaries, and domestic violence. Northcutt also said that he is, quote, "seeing more talk about riots and actions in protest. They don't intend for it to be a riot, but a protest. However, with emotions running high and the pressures of the situation from a law enforcement perspective, it could quickly turn into a riot. Thus, my using the word riot is running it through the lens of law enforcement evaluation of public safety risk of the situation. As you know, an increasing number of people have begun expressing that they are at the end of their tolerance of these restrictions. This is a growing public safety risk. It just takes one person to escalate a situation like this. I don't want to see that happen," end quote. Northcutt said he made it clear in the past to members of law enforcement that he wouldn't prosecute anyone for violating Lee's executive orders. However, that doesn't mean non-compliant individuals and businesses are free from penalty. A business that defies the executive order by opening too soon, for example, could lose their business license. Tullahoma Principal Kathy Rose announced, Tullahoma High School Principal Kathy Rose announced that the graduation ceremony for the class of 2020, which was intended to be held at the Montana Drive-In in Estill Springs, has been canceled per the Estill Springs Police Department. Chief Matt Baker of the Estill Springs Police Department said, quote, "We were not satisfied, or rather we weren't notified about the plans to use Montana Drive-In to begin with, and the ESPD got calls from concerned citizens about how many people were going to be at the event. We are in the beginning phase of reopening. We are worried about exposing Franklin County because of so many people. I know it will upset a lot of people, and I hate it for the seniors, but Tullahoma is our neighbor, and we need to protect them as well. Safety is number one of the COVID safety is their number one concern is the COVID outbreak continues to happen. I hope everyone can understand, and that's the end quote. Baker added that Estill officials are concerned about police escorts of vehicles from Tullahoma High School to the drive-in, and that escorting that many vehicles may not be possible. Baker said he and Mayor James David Kelly contacted the Tullahoma School Board and Tullahoma Police and came to the decision that it was not safe to go ahead with the event, given that they are unsure where individuals are coming from and how many. As of press time, no further plans for THS graduation have been announced. Stay with us. We'll be right back in a moment with more News Leader.
Here at Stan McNabb Collision Center, we work with all major insurance companies, and we get the job done right the first time, on time.
Well, I grew up in Tullahoma. We'd always done business with Stan McNabb, so when we needed collision service after a run-in with a deer, we knew to call those guys. We already had trust with them. We called Cody. He took great care of us. He kept us posted every step of the way, and we couldn't have been more pleased.
Getting your vehicle back to pre-loss condition shouldn't be a headache. So in event of an accident, contact me, Cody Hall, at Stan McNabb Collision Center.
Here at Manchester Funeral Home, we know the importance of living and working in our local community because it's those families who we serve during their time of need honorably. We believe in supporting local business and offer only 100% Batesville caskets, the best in the industry and a driver of our local economy. If you want straightforward and fair pricing while working with the people you know, choose Manchester Funeral Home, serving your community since 1932. And pre-planning and pre-funding can be the best gift you ever leave your loved ones. Call us to pre-arrange. Manchester Funeral Home. Our family caring for your family since 1932.
Welcome back. At this week's Tullahoma Board meeting, Daniel Berry expressed concerns about starting the new Silver Street Park project in Tullahoma and recommended putting it off until Tullahoma knows how much tax revenues will be impacted by the COVID-19 outbreak.
Awarded bid and authorized the mayor to sign a contract with Curl Construction in the amount of $223,874 for the construction of Phase 1 of a new park at 126 Silver Street. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I have a couple. So as I understand it, this is all going to come out of our capital funds right now, and it's reimbursed for $130,000 out of a grant program. I guess my question is, I know that we've talked about doing this part, but is right now the best time to start a new project? When we're unsure what revenues are going to look like over the next year and a half, 2 years. What if we need, should we, it's now the best time.
If we delay, will we lose $130,000 in grant money?
I'm sure there is a time limit.
I don't have the exact time limits in front of me. I know that we have requested extensions already to keep the grant funding that we have. I think it's a fair question, knowing that we probably are facing a pretty difficult budget year next year. It's one that, just to be honest, I don't feel like I could answer. Obviously I'm recommending moving forward with it because we do have the funds budgeted, and the amount of the state grant funds are about half of the project costs. I would think that we would be likely to lose some of that, if not all the grant funding, by delaying the project. And that construction costs only seem to go up in the future. It's not going to be any less expensive.
We've got a whole community there that's excited about this project. And they've attended meetings, they've seen the plans, we've all seen the plans. I would really hate to delay it.
May I ask a question? Isn't it, this is a grant that we have received and can lose. And if we're going to apply for more grants, because this project has multiple phases that we want to do, isn't it in our best interest to deliver on time instead of delaying, so that we are more likely to receive grants? Because don't they take that into account? They'll be like, hey, Tullahoma didn't do it in time, so we're not going to give them a grant. Correct? Or am I off base?
Ms. Moody?
No, you're correct. There's criteria they look at. They call it capacity, and they look at a city's ability to complete grants on time and successfully do the projects that they apply for. So I think that is a valid concern. This is actually 3 different grants, but they're almost all from the same Department of Health. And I think the mayor's point is well made. We're very proud of the level of community engagement that we've had around this park. And the basketball courts with lights, specifically with lights, was the top requested item from the community.
I think it's a fantastic move to start moving with the park there.
I'm just really worried about we take $223,000 right now, and we get into a situation 6 months from now, because that's all coming out of ours, even though we got it budgeted. We didn't get any grant money yet. It's reimbursed, right? So we do the building, we take out of our budget. Once it's done, we reapply for that money back, which we don't know how long that will take. It's the Department of Health. Surely they would understand if we reached out and said, hey, because of the recent health crisis, this is why we just feel we don't want to get ourselves into $223,000 is a lot of money. And that could go towards a lot of different things if we get into something that we need to fund that's essential. I'm not saying that parks aren't essential, but they're not our primary, public safety and infrastructure and paying the employees is kind of the primary thing. That's just kind of my thoughts. I just hate starting any new project right now.
This has been on the drawing board now for some time. There's been a lot of effort that's gone into it. And the addition to this area there on Silver Street will be an extremely valuable asset to that community, an asset to our city. And to put that on hold at this time, I think it'd be a negative impact to a lot of people. So I'd like to see us go forward with this, as I do see it as an asset to the city. Having walked that property and look at the potential that it has, and to look at the surrounding area and to think of what it's going to provide in the way of recreational activity to that community is just too much of an opportunity for us to bypass. Thank you.
When the roll call is called, please indicate by saying yes or no. Ms. Golden.
Mayor Curley,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Blanks,
Yes.
Alderman Berry,
No.
Alderman Blackwell,
Yes.
Alderman Dunn,
Yes.
Alderman Noes,
Yes.
5 yeses, 1 no. The motion passes.
More news is coming up in a moment.
Here at Stan McNabb Collision Center, we work with all major insurance companies, and we get the job done right the first time, on time.
Well, I grew up in Tullahoma. We'd always done business with Stan McNabb, so when we needed collision service after a run-in with a deer, we knew to call those guys. We already had trust with them. We called Cody. He took great care of us. He kept us posted every step of the way, and we couldn't have been more pleased.
Getting your vehicle back to pre-loss condition shouldn't be a headache. So in the event of an accident, contact me, Cody Hall, at Stan McNabb Collision Center.
All right, the cat's out of the bag at Carroll Street Liquor in Tullahoma. Now you know where to go if you're planning a get-together and want the ideal wine or spirit. Party planning can be stressful, but at Carroll Street Liquor you'll find everything you need. Mixers, gift sets, and all of your favorite spirit brands. So if you're feeling the pressure to pull off the ideal party, come to Carroll Street Liquor and select among the seemingly endless supply of wines, spirits, gift sets, and more. Your perfect party, it's in the bag with Carroll Street Liquors.
Welcome back. News leaders Marilyn Ewing spoke with Don Emery, Bedford County School Superintendent, about what Bedford County schools are doing during the school shutdown and what they have planned for graduation.
Not being in school, you think that, well, the schools are shut down and they're not doing anything. That's far from the truth.
Yes.
Everybody from our principals to our teachers to our custodians, food services. Wow. We've got an awful lot going on with the schools right now.
We're going to roll back time, maybe mid-March, March 16th or so. And all of this pandemic, it kind of snuck up on us. And you didn't have, a lot of time to prepare. and that type of thing. But did you ever think that all of this would have taken place?
We kind of knew that something was going to happen because, watching the news, I guess nobody can really prepare for what we're experiencing right now.
Right.
It's been quite a challenge for everybody, not just the school systems, but our entire country right now.
Yes.
And when the governor shut down schools for statewide, shut down schools that day, I'm thinking, well, maybe we're out for 3 or 4 weeks.
Right.
Maybe at the time we hadn't been on spring break yet. And I'm thinking, well, we'll be out of school for a week. We're going to be out for spring break. Maybe one more week after that, and possibly come back. And then obviously, as time went on, the situation got worse, and now we're out for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
We never expected that.
How do you deal with the grading system at this point? I've heard where you're taking the average of what the students did when they left, and that moves forward, determining whether they're passing or failing, and
that's correct.
That type of thing. Okay.
The State Board of Education had an emergency meeting a couple weeks ago, and in order to provide consistency across the entire state, they developed a set of emergency rules for grading, for graduation purposes, for credits. Basically, the State Board of Education said any grades at the point of March 20th, that would be the grade for that semester of our students.
Okay.
And we're working right now to work with students. Obviously, we want them to keep up with their work in as much as they possibly can. We're providing a lot of resources for them, but for graduation purposes, the grading basically stopped at March 20th, and that's statewide. And whatever you had at that point is what your grade is, but we're giving students, we do have the option in giving students an opportunity to raise those grades if they need to for graduation purposes and credits.
Yes, very good, very good.
I was bound and determined, and I said this all along, we're going to have a graduation ceremony. We're going to honor those kids. We don't know when, or at the time, we didn't know when, we didn't know how. We have tentative dates set right now.
Yes, you do.
June 24, 25, and 26, if the situation allows us to. We just don't know yet, but those are the tentative dates, and we were bound to determine that those kids are going to graduate one way or another. We're going to honor those kids.
Yes, very good, very good. Again, it's very emotional, and just a situation that we never could see or would think we would see, and that type of thing. You mentioned the school meals and things. They're very busy preparing every day for those kids, and I hear high numbers on how many meals are getting out each day.
We started out the week that the school was let out. We started with 6 sites across the school system and serving meals 3 days a week, and it was a pickup. It was a pickup type situation where parents could pick up meals. They had to have their children with them, but we would serve meals for any child ages 2 to 18.
Yes.
And it expanded so much that after a couple of weeks, we started sending buses throughout the county and throughout town here to deliver meals because there were so many families and so many children in need that we had to find ways to give meals to them and for them to be fed.
Yes.
As time went on, when the governor issued the stay-at-home order, we felt like that we needed to stay at home too, in as much as possible. So we reduced back to the 6 sites again, serving 1 day a week, and that's what we're doing right now. We're serving meals for 5 days. They can pick up on Wednesdays at our 6 locations. And to give you an idea of how many meals we served, we have served about 130,000 meals in the 17 or 18 days that.
Incredible.
just amazing.
More news is coming up in a moment.
You made the time and the sacrifice to broaden their horizons, to see their smiles, but mostly to make lifelong memories. We think it's time to do it again, just the two of you. Don't let illness or injury slow you down. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
My great-grandfather started it in 1900, and now it's 2020, which is 120 years. We still measure your feet, still try to help you find a good fit. We're just a good old-fashioned shoe store where we'll measure your feet, make sure you're in the right size, and help you find a comfortable shoe for men, women, and children.
We're gonna fit your style. We're gonna make you smile. Service and quality at Clayton Shoe Store. We're gonna fit your style.
Welcome back. Governor Bill Lee announced at yesterday's press conference plans for reopening certain businesses in Tennessee while still stressing social distancing and wearing masks.
In 89 of our counties, we see businesses taking the Tennessee Pledge and opening at limited capacity. Restaurants are beginning to open, retail outlets are opening today, and gyms will be opening on Friday. And all the while, we remember that social distancing works. And we remind every Tennessean that continuing social distancing practices like washing your hands frequently, staying home when you're sick, wearing a cloth mask when appropriate, those efforts will ensure that we can stay on track with a safe reopening plan. The Tennessee Pledge asks businesses to provide safe working conditions for their employees and for their customers. And it asks employees to protect themselves and their coworkers as well as the people that they serve. We're giving these businesses very specific and detailed guidelines so they can do just that. And as we see Tennessee businesses adopt the Tennessee Pledge and do right by their customers and by their employees, we want to call them out. Today we're shouting out a couple of businesses that have reopened in a very responsible and safe way. Three Dog Bakery in Mount Juliet, Sprouts Children's Center in Manchester. Thank you for your efforts. Keep up the good work. Companies like yours all across this state are opening up in a way that provides for the safety of Tennesseans and allows us to get our economy started again. So today we're announcing that in the next several weeks, the Unified Command Group is embarking on widespread testing of all long-term care facilities in Tennessee to help these facilities identify COVID-19 positive patients and staff even more quickly. We have 700 long-term care facilities in our state, and 70,000 of our Tennessee residents are in long-term care facilities. So for this initial push, we're partnering with the National Healthcare Corporation to test all residents and staffs in each of their 38 Tennessee facilities. We thank NHC for their partnership as we work to protect this most vulnerable part of our Tennessee population. And we look forward to working with all long-term care facilities here in Tennessee. Yesterday, I signed Executive Order 30, which is predominantly about reopening our economy in the safest way that we can. In this order, we continue to restrict social gatherings to groups of 10 or fewer. We continue to encourage working from home and staying at home whenever possible, and we encourage the use of social distancing practices like wearing a mask in public places. There are some places that we anticipate opening before the end of May. The first example of this, as you may have heard, is close contact services like salons and barbershops. Today I'm announcing that close contact services will be opening 1 week from today in 89 of 95 Tennessee counties. We know that for these businesses, things like masks are especially important because of the close contact that employees have with customers. We'll have guidance for these businesses before the end of the week, and we will be asking each of those businesses to take the Tennessee Pledge, just like we have for restaurants, retail, and gyms.
Montville State Community College, led by Principal Investigator Omar Tantwai, has been awarded approximately $108,000 of a $600,000 grant from the National Science Foundation as part of a collaborative project to address the shortfall of qualified robotics technicians in the workforce. Montville has previously received the 2 state grants to establish robotics centers in McMinnville and Fayetteville. The National Science Foundation Award is the second federal grant that Montville's Megatronics Department has received in the last 2 years, bringing the total federal funds granted to more than $650,000. Funds will be used to purchase a collaborative robot unit to be used for the project purposes. It is a diverse collaboration of 4 academic institution, that's Montville, UT Chattanooga, Chattanooga State, and Lawson State, and impacts major manufacturers in the eastern and central regions of Tennessee and Alabama through training for high-demand skills to sustain the development of the region's manufacturing industry. Stay with us. Your weather forecast is coming up next.
Ah, the glory days. Running to daylight on the gridiron. And chasing a ball with a mind of its own. Cheering the team to victory. And marching to the beat of your own drum. Memories that last a lifetime. But sometimes we're reminded of our glory days in ways we'd rather forget. Get back in the game. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live and play well.
We're losing it, Doctor.
Not on my shift. Quickly, brush. Roller.
What a transformation. It's gonna be okay.
Okay, nothing.
At Paintworks of Tullahoma, we specialize in domestic emergencies with Martin Senior Paints. You can be the paint doctor too when you treat your home with Martin Senior interior and exterior finishes.
Doctor, we've got another one.
Got you covered.
Paintworks of Tullahoma. Come see the paint doctor, Stat.
Welcome back. We'll take a look at your weather forecast at this time, starting with your weather history on this day. Our record high was in 1942 at 90 degrees. The record low was in 1924 at 33 degrees. Average high on this day is 74, and the average low is 50. Partly cloudy weather in the forecast for tonight with a low of 42. Mostly sunny weather in the forecast for Friday with a high of 71 and a low of 47, and partly cloudy weather expected on Saturday with a high of 78 and a low of 58. And that's our News Leader report for this evening. We invite you to join us each Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 6, 8, and 10 for News Leader on 6.